walk of the wild ones, into the woods and the darkness. Rebirth the ways of the ancient ones whose tracks were washed away in blood. It falls to us now to open up and taste beyond what we've been fed. Take up the phoenix fire of cleansing, change to light the path instead. Follow the walk of the wild ones, into the woods and the darkness. Rebirth the ways of the ancient ones whose tracks were washed away in blood. It falls to us now to open up and taste beyond what we've been fed. Take up the phoenix fire of cleansing, change to light the path instead. Step by step through the unknown, I'll be your light and you'll be mine. In darkness let love light the way to feed the soil of changing times. Step by step through the unknown, I'll be your light and you'll be mine. In darkness let love light the way to feed the soil of changing times.
Okay, so we just went for a nice family walk. We have the kids actually in the car right now, playing Minecraft together. And the boy. Is that what you guys are doing, playing Minecraft together?
Yeah, maybe
Et Théo et regarde. Okay.
And I had a wild nature idea to do a QHHT session on me in the forest, in Mono Cliffs, because in grade 8 or 7 or 6 we went to a field trip, and that's grade 6 is when I started going to school in Canada. That's when we arrived here.
Oh wow! So it was
And
the first year.
Grade 6, yeah. And I
Like, so
remember
what, it
like
would have
one of
been
those like
spring?
elementary school years. I feel like 6, 7 grade, somewhere there. We went to Mono Cliffs, and I had a deja vu moment somewhere on a cliff. Like,
Yeah.
I've been here. And it's interesting because as a kid, to have a deja vu compared to like as an adult, like kids are more like in tune, I guess, or like fresh.
How did it feel for you as a kid? How did you know it was?
How I felt
Yeah.
when we were walking, and then we came to a hill. It had a big, like, scenic overlook from above, and I have had a full-on sensation that wow, I've been here before.
Like, you know this place, or like?
No, just this,
I've been
no,
here.
just a very simple feeling of like I've seen this before.
Right.
Where I'm looking at the trees, the cliffs, the landscape, felt like and like inside it feels like I have been here, kind of thing.
Well, it's funny because we just went on this walk in a forest near, like, not far from that area, really. And you were by the riverbed, and I thought, I had this thing that hit me. I was like, I feel like I've been in a place like this, very similar to this, or maybe on this river with him.
With me.
In a different setting. Yeah, with you in a different setting. And that's when I said, hey, we were supposed to do a QHHT together.
Because you are interested in seeing if I see what you saw.
Because I've seen you in probably 4 different lifetimes, and you haven't seen me yet. You've done less sessions than I have. You've done, what,
Like
3
way less
with
sessions,
me?
so-
I think you've done 3 with me, and I've done a total of like 6 or 7 with other people, like, over the years.
I think you've done more. You've done quite a bit with Lena.
Yeah,
did
but I've done
Sulan,
4
you
with
did-
her. I've done Sulan, and I did Albert, and
Yeah,
I've
so
done
you-
2 with you. So that's 7, 8.
Do you
I thought you did quite a bit more with Lena. but-
No, because we were exchanging, right?
Right.
I was doing this thing. But
Okay, I'm gonna go
yes, and I do feel it's a bit of a, like, I'm a biased. I would almost prefer you doing it with someone who's not invested in what you see. But it's an
I always
interesting
try my best to
experiment.
like completely
Wait,
erase that you're doing it and just fully like let go.
But I know that I'm biased.
That's okay. I feel like if the subject that's under is open,
I think it's still an
You-
interesting experiment,
Yeah.
and it could be
I'll
interesting
try with someone else later.
for you
but-
to try with Albert, I think, because he's great. Our local, like, he's like the male QHHT practitioner, so I think it's good to have woman and a man doing the work.
But that's why I want to do it at Mono Cliffs, where I had that deja vu. It would be nice to like set up a little blanket,
Yeah.
if weather permits, to do it at a spot where, as a kid, I had this deja vu.
And we've been wanting to do this session for a long time. like over a year, I think. I've been saying we need to do a session together. And last year was a bit crazy, and we were going to do it this weekend, and it didn't happen. But yeah, we were talking about something else important.
We were talking about this. I feel also my parents were Indians.
Yes,
in their
there's
past
that
life.
one
That's why
picture of them.
there's that one picture, and I think that's why, for some reason, they were.
I know where you are.
So life works in different mysterious ways, and that's why they came back to live here.
Called to be here.
Are.
Well, it's interesting to consider that our souls have lived on various different lands,
Yep.
you know, and
And we're not our like current religion. We're the soul that had experiences on planet
I'm the
Earth.
top dude.
yeah, and possibly beyond planet Earth, but
Yeah.
most of the souls here have lived on different lands.
It's you.
And I think like my friend Desley had said this, there's like a weaving of even me going to England and kind of recharging there spiritually and then bringing that energy back here. There's a reason for that, you know, it's like she said it, a weaving. And now I see this like vision of souls and people traveling back and forth over time. And it's like a weaving throughout the earth of, yeah, mixing bloods, mixing souls and beliefs, and making a really tight tapestry. And I actually believe that it's because the earth will be involved in galactic stuff eventually.
Whoa.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm going galactic on you.
Whoa.
And that humans
Intergalactic.
need to have this tapestry woven and be really strong and thick with all these threads overlapping and interweaving with each other so that we can then fulfill our galactic duty.
You went there.
I know, and I don't often go galactic.
And
I'm very
you know what it makes me
Earth-based,
think
but
of
Vitaly's
is
usually the cosmic one.
Leia being all into Stray Kids, the Korean pop
Yeah.
band. Them having possibly, it's just funny right now to say, but there's like Korean grandkids for us. What if that's like the next weaving of like your lifetimes where you saw yourself Asian somewhere?
I've had 2 Asian lifetimes. They're very significant.
What if it's
for
like
me, yeah.
their
a reweaving. of that.
in-laws, I guess, or something,
Yeah.
would be like our reconnection to our Asian roots.
Yeah.
But that's why Buddhism is like meditates. You don't have to be playing in all this soup.
Yeah,
While the
that's what
soup
we
is-
were talking
This soup,
about.
yes, this soup is important.
Because we were, wait. Can I go
Yeah,
back?
yeah,
Because we were talking about a session that I did in February that was very significant. And I did that session a week after doing a shroom journey. And I think that made it a stronger session or something. I don't know. I was in a very strange word vortex for a few months there, February, March, in the winter here, probably leading up to my trip. And it took me on a whole tangent and a whole fantasy, and it took me into a very crazy place. And I could have been very attached to that story and changed my life completely because of what came about in the session. But I did stay grounded, and my goal was to stay in what reality was presenting itself. Just like that's a story, that's something that, you know, affected my psyche and came through my psyche. And then you have to be grounded in what presents itself in every single moment in reality that you're living right now. And that's why at the end of a QHHT session, it's in the script, is all of this information is important and helps for this present moment and this present lifetime, which is the most important moment that you are living right now.
Yeah.
And it's so important. And I think as a practitioner, we need to have that groundedness because we're helping people to have a crazy experience, and it can be life-changing, and it can make people, you know, think, oh, I was this or I was that, or I was a priestess here. And I think for me, that was one of the most destabilizing sessions I've ever had.
Oh,
That
wait. Okay, no.
making sure I stayed grounded was so important. And it was a big thing to integrate and navigate. And that's where I was saying that I think a lot of the gurus and teachers haven't done that full process. I think yoga and meditation and Buddhism and spiritual work will bring you to do that process one way or another.
You hate water?
And a lot of the true masters and yogis have accessed these stories and integrated them and processed the emotions and all the things. But I don't think a lot of the more showy gurus have. Like the showy gurus I'm saying are, because I believe, I don't know what you think, Vitaly, that the true masters are hidden from the public.
Yep, they don't have big followings.
They don't have big followings. They're not going to be on YouTube. They're not going to be on Instagram. They
Although
might not
I always
write
say
books. Do you know what I
Jesus
mean?
would have a YouTube channel, possibly.
You do? You think he would have if he was here now?
What are you doing?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he would somehow.
And he's a true master?
I think there are like, I
Yeah,
feel like
okay.
Sadhguru is very, very out there, and he's consciously doing it.
And he's
And
close
we
to
might
that.
not be doing, we might not know all the inner workings
This
and
is still water, no?
See,
how
from
fully
Sadhguru-
honest he is. But
right.
there is a sense of like he's doing his best. And then there's like, I don't think there's any teacher out there, even if they're like by themselves in the Himalayas, that are like fully aware, centered, like with this like vision that we have that they're like fully enlightened.
Perfect.
I think yes,
Yeah.
they're not. I don't think they're.
Do you think
is
Buddha
perfect.
was? Do you think
I don't
Jesus
think even
was?
Buddha was. I don't think Jesus was either.
Interesting.
And this like idea that cultures and religions like put them on such a high pedestal that I think
See,
I don't think they're ideal and perfect. That when we come here as a because like Jordan, my friend, says like Jesus was God coming
Yeah,
into
they, like,
and
equate
it's just
God.
so
Yeah.
too much of that. When I think life in general is not perfect, even if it's God itself, it's like this, it's perfect and not at the same time, you know? So when it comes especially to teachers and being in a physical form, there just are imperfections. Mental,
I would
physical.
agree with that. I think even this idea of perfect imperfect is not actually the truth. or
Because it's too
something.
left and right, too black and white.
Exactly.
There's like,
it's not actually the ultimate truth.
it's not what we should be
Right.
judging, or like there's like a spectrum to every human being of their deeds, their thoughts, their actions, like all of this.
Because Goenka, the Vipassana teacher, definitely puts Buddha on a pedestal of being like, he was perfect, this practice is perfect. And then he's kind of downplaying Jesus. And that's
Right.
part of this, like, where I was feeling like, wait, you're doing something that you say you're not doing, but you're doing it. Of like,
Yeah.
this isn't religious, this is pure logic and just understanding the laws of nature. And Buddha was perfect, and we're so lucky to have this technique from him. And then kind of making fun of Jesus and Christians. And I'm like, wait, you're doing the thing. You're doing the thing, you know? And also this idea of like good karma and bad karma and past lives.
Okay.
From me, from what I felt with Goenka as a teacher, is that I'm like, I don't think he's
Fish tank.
really understands this, understanding your past lives and processing them and what that
I'm gonna
means.
defend him a little bit here and say that he might know those things, the past lives, but what happens is they dismiss them like as unimportant, and to me it makes sense.
Like it's
You just
drama
jump.
that you don't
It's
need
drama
to
you don't need, but
feed or something.
most people kind of need to go and need to learn through the drama a little bit to then be open to the possibility and idea that it doesn't really matter.
Yes.
You kind of have to be playing the soup a little bit and then go. And so for me,
It's
I
like a
understand
layer. It's like another
a layer to go
yeah.
through. So I understand him dismissing it, and probably the best way to talk about it would be not to dismiss it, but say it's important, but what's more important is to
Yes.
surpass it.
Well, I
But
think
when you
that's,
dismiss,
exactly.
that's like, oh, this is completely not important. Just it
No, it was
creates
more,
this,
he
like,
wasn't
arrogance.
dismissing past lives. It was more like, if you have something come up in your life, it's because of good karma or bad karma from a past life. So he was talking about it.
She feeds more into the drama.
Yeah,
really.
he was actually.
It just feeds more of the
But also
That's
from
it.
what my experience with QHHT and supporting people to access those areas of their consciousness, there's the good and bad karma story, and like doesn't exist there, which is interesting. You kind of go to your past lives to try to find good bad karma, and I don't find it. It's more like I find consequences or explanations or stories that can
Also, like,
then
completions
easily
too.
completions. I have been looking for, I've been looking for myself, like, okay, I have these troubles in my life. Where in my past lives is the thing that I did bad to quote unquote deserve this difficult situation? I
And you
don't find
yeah.
it. I don't find it. And so that
Because
is
every time a session ends or like a story ends in QHHT, it always like there was a reason for this. It's not about good and bad. It's just like
it's like a natural
experience.
consequence. It's
Experience,
like a natural
experience.
It's, to me, it goes towards this law of nature idea and like cause and effect. But the good and bad thing, it's, to me, it's just like a divine rectification of things.
And remember what was cool about Dolores Cannon is that she taught in the Shivananda ashram in the Bahamas.
But then the
So they were open to
people, they were telling, don't go do past life regression. Don't go look
which
into
is
your
like,
past
what's
lives.
the
Just do the work,
because
which is not
because again, I
wrong.
understand why,
Yes.
but they're just dismissing it
Yes.
instead of
Great
like, maybe some
value.
people need to go through this.
Yeah.
We think it's like, and I understand because I kind of agree with the idea that we need to surpass it. We need to meditate beyond that.
But most people don't even believe it's possible or that it's a thing. So I think for a lot of people, it's mind expanding and mind opening, even to do it once. And then you don't need to do it again and again to keep looking and keep seeing what drama is there.
Yeah, because if it's true that we live many lives, then there's like endless drama. Like just one lifetime of our, like, we're 36, 37. Just this lifetime is like a whole bunch of drama.
Yeah.
If you go through like
I've
hundreds,
had people tell me they don't want to do QHHT because they have enough drama in their own life. They don't want to deal with the drama from other lives.
and I get it, but here's what's important in that is that the drama is so repetitive. So what you will see of hundreds of lives is probably the pinpoint to like, oh, I was doing this for so long, and that's what you'll see. You don't need all the drama. You need, what QHT might do is that it'll show you the repetitiveness, the ridiculousness of the,
and help you have a moment of realization
Yeah.
to come out of it. Yeah. For me, I found it's only helped people understand the drama in this life. It's not like, it doesn't feel the same as, oh, I now have to psychologically process the trauma from 5 lifetimes, because of the way that we go and observe these storylines and then also access a deeper part of the consciousness to integrate them and heal them or something like that. But yeah.
You know what I also think about Dolores, like coming back to her, like she's like the ultimate teacher of QHHT, like the grandma that started, is that she always said that I'm just a facilitator, I just facilitate. But if she just did the session and nothing else, not the conferences, not the books, it would be true that she's just a facilitator. But she wasn't just, like she was saying, I am just a facilitator of the experience. In a way, during the session, yes. But then she wrote books and did the conferences where she was, in a way, summarizing and teaching the process, teaching why we do she was
a journalist.
Not just a journalist, but actually what you just said earlier, where how you need someone to like ground people. She kind of was in a way doing that with the books and the conferences. Maybe not grounding, but she was doing like a collective, trying to sit there and understand why these things happen. So that in a way was already grounding. If she was just doing the sessions, oh, you had your experience, okay, goodbye, that would be one thing. But she wrote books, she compiled different stories so people could read who did a session with her or someone else.
I actually find that her work is like missing some groundingness. She was like
But she was
publishing and sharing and like a bard, you know,
a
like the
journalistic
person
way.
who's going around and like singing and telling the stories and sharing.
Yes, but in the conference, she would say like all these things would be just for us to let go. She was saying that.
Yeah,
so she
did,
was
yeah.
grounding in that way.
To love and to let go.
Yeah, she was like, all the sessions, all the books that I wrote, everything comes down to like, we have to just let go. She would say that. So in a way, I find
and that
like,
the divine is within and without and everywhere.
Yeah, she was
like
summarizing
connecting people back to themselves.
all the books, all the sessions, she was summarizing it into that love, letting go, that.
Yeah.
So she was doing
Yeah.
that in some ways. She was bringing people together.
Because she did
into a
kind of,
conference.
she was publishing the book, so she was into the drama of the stories, because some of them are very important for humanity to think differently and see the world differently. But she knew also that that wasn't the highest point.
And her books are like the cream of, like she was
All
saying,
the
80% of sessions are just digging potato lives, like regular drama.
I would have liked to have seen in her books more follow-ups, more like what happened to that person 3 to 5 years later, you know, because some of the stories are incredible.
And that's the evolution of the practice. Like,
and that's where I actually find that Many Lives, Many Masters, Brian Weiss, because he comes from a medical and psychiatric background, he kind of shares more about the symptoms people are coming with and then how it rectified their symptoms in really interesting, beautiful ways. And I would have liked to have seen more of that from Dolores. I also would have liked to have known, in some cases she shares, like this person knew about this before coming to my session, or they didn't know anything. Like the one, the story about Hiroshima, where it's like someone accesses a past life in Japan, and then a man who was like at the atomic bomb in Hiroshima. That's like a crazy, crazy, crazy story. She does write, this was a girl, a young woman who accessed that story, and she says this woman knew nothing about Japan. And then she could describe like the wedding traditions and how the bows were knotted and the culture, all these things that she did not know. But then there's other books, I guess it's more like Saren Bressman Cosme, her Atlantis book, and Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, who are both written from QHHT stories, channelings. They don't say what those people knew beforehand, and they don't really say how it changed their lives afterwards. And I find you're missing part of the story with that, because it can seem like these crazy stories are coming out of nowhere. But I know now Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, you know, sharing that Jesus's uncle, Joseph of Arimathea, would have been in England. I didn't know that those were legends that exist in England and have existed for 2,000 years. So when I read that book, I was like, wow, this got channeled. This is incredible information, you know? And now I'm thinking she probably had been exposed to those stories beforehand and only filled in the details with QHHT. That's what I think. And I would like to see, tell me either way. Did you know anything about this before or did you not? But to just present the story on its own, yeah. And so that's something I try to do now when I read books, is I'm like, what would the critics have to say? What would someone who thinks completely the opposite, what questions would they ask and what would they have to say? And it's something that I try to keep in mind, and one day I'll write more, is to try to keep that in mind, not presenting what I'm saying as like the ultimate right, true thing, but trying to give as much context to it, where it's coming from.
I wonder about that in the book Conversations with God. How, remember that book?
Yeah.
How he wrote that. Was it actually like...
He does share, I think, a little bit in the introduction.
Well,
he was
I remember it from like he was just like sitting there and wrote it.
Yeah.
But I wonder like how much of it is just him to kind of creating a story. Oh, this is how it happened and that's how I wrote it. These things. And he's just trying to pass down his philosophy on life. Or is it actually just... Maybe it's a bit of both. Like, how did I write my little booklet? It's all a combination of things.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should mention that in the introduction. What you've studied, what you've been exposed to.
I kind of mention it, but I also say like I just sat down and I do mention it where I say there was a day where I remember clearly I sat down and I wanted. Did I mention that in the book? I remember I was describing it that way. Now I forgot.
I think context is so important. That's even with the kids. Like if we're going to read stories, and later when we're going to read more, maybe some classics or something one day, is always considering the author. Who are they? Where they came from? What did they learn about? What time are they living in that makes them write what they're writing?
Yeah.
I think it's very, very important.
But the classics, it's super hard to know.
But
With
no,
books that are like
you
50
can
years
know.
ago, it's hard to tell like truth and non-truth.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's,
I think
maybe
there's
it's not,
always a
sometimes
mix
maybe
of
it's not
both.
important because a good story, no matter if it's true or not, can teach.
Like the Vipassana teacher, there's some things that are really triggering and frustrating, but if you understand the context that he's coming from,
Yeah.
you can kind of forgive it a little bit. Or you
Yeah.
can be like, okay, you know, I can take it with a grain of salt. But
Maybe it's about remembering that no matter what we're hearing, there's going to be a deeper
always
context
more,
that
always
we
more to the
are
story.
just not aware of right now.
And that's the same with the QHHT sessions, even like my own experience and what I've seen with other people, especially when I do 2 or 3 sessions with them, is that there's always more to the story. Even in our mind, like a lot of people, I think, try to think their way to an ultimate truth, and kind of they want to land on a belief that will hold them for the rest of their life, you know? They want like a strong psychic foundation, and then they're not open to having it challenged because they want to land on this foundation that's going to hold them. But
is it
there's
thinking our way
always
through it
more
or
to the
being our way
story.
through it? Maybe the
Well,
being is more important.
That's what Vipassana taught me, is that
Is being our way to.
because I feel like I think less since Vipassana. I've noticed myself thinking less. I don't really know what to do with my mind anymore because there's like less reason to think.
Or maybe you're feeling more, and then it's not about like having
I'm
a lot of
being
thoughts.
more.
Yeah, being,
Because even feeling,
emotions, thoughts
it
feels
can
more like
be
thoughts.
just destabilizing. Like the practice of Vipassana is awareness and equanimity. So if you have a feeling, you work to bring yourself back to equanimity, which I still don't really understand exactly what that means exactly, but but
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
so even with sessions now, the way I'm going to approach them is with this idea of awareness and equanimity. And I think, like, if you're not aware, it's easy to be equanimous. It's easy to have equanimity if you're not aware. The more you're aware
Equanimity.
the harder it is to maintain equanimity, or the more you have to stretch and expand yourself to be able to maintain equanimity. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what QHHT does. It's like, wow, if there are past lives, if I've been different people, you know, if I've been a king or like, then to remain equanimous with that is stretching your capacity for equanimity. You know, it's like you can be blind to the suffering in the world. It's really easy to be happy. But if you see all the suffering in the world, then how do you maintain inner peace? How, you know, to actually maintain that? That was a theme that came up in my session, actually. It was like the suffering of the world, and it can really bring me down sometimes. And it's like the more you can realize the suffering in the world and remain equanimous, I think that's
we have to like ChatGPT that word.
then you can actually address the biggest problems in the world. If you don't have equanimity and you have big emotions, you're not going to act clearly and in a way that most helps you and other people. That's my logic now. So
I like it. That trip was good for you, us.
Yep. But yeah, we're going to do a session. We may or may not share about it. And I'm definitely unbiased, and I'm owning that.
The session
that I want to do with you.
Me.
Yeah.
What if I don't see What do you want me to say?
That's why there's pressure. That's what I'm telling you. It's like not ideal for me to be unbiased. But
I'm trying to remember now.
I think it's
like,
still a fun project.
I'm gladly will be your project,
Yeah.
your subject.
Okay, I think we're
Project.
arriving to our greenhouse and we're gonna shut this down. Shut her down.
It down.
I think it
Okay.
was a good chat.
Yes. I'll see you again in a few minutes.
See you. Bye.
Follow the walk of the wild ones into the woods and the darkness. Rebirth the ways of the ancient ones whose tracks were washed away in blood. It falls to us now to open up and taste beyond what we've been fed. Take up the phoenix fire of cleansing, change to light the path instead. Follow the walk of the wild ones into the woods and the darkness. Rebirth the ways of the ancient ones whose tracks were washed away in blood. It falls to us now to open up and taste beyond what we've been fed. Take up the phoenix fire of cleansing, change to light the path instead. Step by step through the unknown, I'll be your light and you'll be mine. In darkness let love light the way to feed the soil of changing times. Step by step through the unknown, I'll be your light and you'll be mine. In darkness let love light the way to feed the soil of changing times. Follow the walk of the wild ones into the woods and the darkness. Rebirth the ways of the ancient ones whose tracks were washed away in blood. It falls to us now to open up and taste beyond what we've been fed. Take up the phoenix fire of cleansing, change to light the path instead. Step by step through the unknown, I'll be your light and you'll be mine. In darkness let love light the way to feed the soil of changing times. Step by step through the unknown, I'll be your light and you'll be mine. In darkness let love light the way